All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Super excited to have our guest speaker, Jacqueline Foreman, with us today. Jacqueline, I am going to turn the floor over to you, rock star. She's going to be sharing with us how you can get into the luxury market at a high level. Jacqueline, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I'm super honored to be here and to be talking to you guys about it. I certainly never thought in the beginning of my career that someone would ask me to talk about how I got into luxury real estate. As with many new agents, I was just trying to get the next deal. Uh, Olivia, yeah, just like that, just like she was doing. I was doing that as well. I think I've spoke to you guys before that I was very nervous. I've never worked in a place where I had to give presentations or anything like that. So my journey to luxury real estate started way before I ever got into luxury real estate. And by being nervous, I really relied on back then, and this is 2001, things have really changed over the years, but I really relied on the best photographs I could get. Um, I was with a company, a big legacy company that I stayed with for 24 years. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that people could collaborate and help you and teach you and things like that. So I literally did all this just by fumbling along. Um, so when I would walk into a listing presentation, having those flyers with the beautiful photographs, I think I felt like I was one of the first agents that was using the nighttime shots and stuff like that. And I also would send over that marketing presentation before I got there. Um, I was looking at my numbers, and in 2001, I was doing four million a year, which wasn't that bad for a new agent. I was rookie of the year my first year in real estate with Coldwell Banker in the Austin area, so I was doing okay. But the people that I knew at that point, were from my previous job, and that was in the nightclub business. So we were doing $150,000 homes, $200,000 homes, and things like that. Um, but how I feel like I broke into it was in 2007 in the Austin area. There were a lot of people moving from California. And people used to ask me how I got so successful. And I literally would say, like, I answer my phone. I never not answer my phone. I always answer it. It's a little different nowadays, but still, you should try to answer your phone. You could always hang up if it's, telemarketer, but I still answer it. So on this one call I got, it was actually from a Toll Brothers world. My husband was selling homes for Toll Brothers, and we never ever mixed our businesses together. It was so hard to sell back then. He never wanted to try to bring me in and things like that. But in this particular day, someone said, like, we've been trying to reach the agent my brother's working with all day long, and we can't reach her. I see your wife is a realtor. Can we call her? And they did. That one particular, and that was like that was like a 700, $800,000 house, but that was major luxury in 2007,
Mhm, mhm.
that one particular family turned into, it was three brothers, a mother and a grandmother, all buying luxury homes. And within a couple of years, they decided that they had purchased the wrong house, and all of them sold and rebought homes again. So I really relied on that. If you've got seven people or five people buying $1 million homes, that's already 5 million a year. I also was on every relocation team there was. I was on USAA, Serva, just every single one of them. And some of those were $100,000 houses, but my first major multi-million dollar luxury property came through a USAA referral of a $500,000 house. And these kids said, one of these days, our parents are going to move here and they're going to buy a really expensive house. About 5 years later, they did call. It was a $2.5 million house. A couple of years later, they sold that one, bought a $4 million house, and I'm working with them right now. This is 15 years later, and we're selling that Lake Austin property, which will, I don't know what it will be when we get finished with it, maybe 5 or 6 million. But I think the point, what I'm trying to make, is that I started treating everyone as a luxury client before I was doing luxury, because luxury to me does not seem like a price point. It seems like a service, right? And so I was able to bring that service to them.
Jacqueline, can you take a break right there for a moment?
Yeah.
Okay, priceless, guys. If you didn't write that down, write it down. Jacqueline, there you go, Joe Grant. Can you repeat that for us?
Yes. I treat luxury and I treated luxury, being a luxury agent, to every client. It's a service. It is not a price point,
That's
in
right.
my opinion. And when you treat everyone like that, they're going to be telling other people, yeah, about it. And, by word of mouth, I think that's how it really, really happened. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. So, John, do you want to ask me some questions, or I was
Well,
asked to?
I'll interrupt you, but
Okay.
if as long as that's okay with you, I'll
Oh,
interrupt you.
yeah.
Other than that, they hear me every day. They're sick of me, Jacqueline. They want to hear you, so keep going.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Again, I still am very nervous,
Did,
huge fear of public speaking. Huge. So I'm asked to speak on a panel in a couple of weeks. So this was perfect. I get to work on it a little bit with y'all. So that panel that I'm going to be on, they sent me some questions about getting into luxury, and I thought I'd just go over a couple of them because I'm going to be speaking in front of a large group. Um, so I talked about the defining moment was working with those high end clients and stuff. And now attracting high end clients, something that I did, I guess, in 2015, I won the top agent at Coldwell Banker in Austin, and I was busy. At that point, I didn't have a transaction, a TC, which I find to be interesting for people that don't do a lot of business. I didn't have anything like that. I was doing about 40 transactions a year. It was just me. And it was obvious I couldn't continue on like that. And my husband was working for the builder he was working for. They were out of their community. They didn't have any more lots to sell or anything like that. And he was already helping me with my marketing as he sat in those model homes all day long, hating it, hating the model homes. So I was like, okay, I need help. You're in between communities. Just jump on and help me. Well, that was a scary decision to work with your husband 24/7. However, it was the best decision I could have made for my business because he had been selling luxury homes in that new construction market. So we brought two very different skill sets to what we were doing. So he brought, sales and marketing for a corporate company, which I didn't do. I'd never worked for a corporate company. And we doubled my business by that next year. So I went from selling about 15 million to 28 million, 30 million. As you know, John, 40 is where my sweet spot is, where I like to be. At the height of the market, obviously we went higher than that, but that's not neither here nor there. So um, so when we moved out to the resort community of Lakeway that we're in, and specifically this Rough Hollow neighborhood, as everybody wants their own niche or whatever. Well, there wasn't a realtor to be found. It looked like you landed on the moon out here. I mean, I'd bring people out. It was, after the bust of the market, and you couldn't tell if this community was going to make it or not. But I was passionate about it. I believed in it, and I started marketing myself anywhere. Oh, let me back up before the Toll Brothers things when he was with that. So 2008, 9, 10 came along. All of a sudden, my husband had 30 homes that were being built that the people couldn't close on.
Mhm.
And I had been begging this builder to just let me list any of his spec homes. I mean, I even went so much to, I told him, I was like, I'll pay you $100 if you'll let me list these homes. Well, they ended up letting me list each one of those homes for $100 a piece. That's what I made.
Mhm.
But everywhere you looked, there I was. So I used at that point Facebook to just listed pending, just sold. I sent out e-flyers on that, just listed pending and sold. Even with that other company that I was with, they didn't have any recognition of like $1 million a month. So I literally printed out a piece of paper that said what I listed, what I closed, listed pending and sold. And I would take pictures of that, or I'd have someone take a picture of me and I would post that on Facebook. They do it now much nicer, but I tried to use social media as in thirds: a third personal, a third educational, and then a third about me. And it was really easy in those days with Facebook to be able to do it. Now it's a lot more complicated and I had to hire someone to do it. But that is really one of the things that put me on the map. And I think you
Jacqueline,
just
if
have
I
to not,
can,
yeah,
Jacqueline, if I can interrupt you, I want to go
yeah.
back to what you were just sharing with us. So you're in a development, you've got these new construction homes, they're luxury priced, and
Mhm.
you saw something that a lot of people would miss. And I want to slow down for just a moment because I want to make sure everybody gets this. What was the motivation in going after those listings as hard as you did and being willing to take those listings, even if you had to pay for them? What was your thought process behind that?
To give myself credibility and to be known, to be seen in the community as someone that was selling homes.
Okay, was there a price point to this, or was it just to get noticed within this particular community?
Well, in this area of Lakeway, there really isn't any new construction. Even back then, under 600 or 700,000. So that was somewhat luxury. I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't multi-million, but at that point, homes over a million were pretty scarce in this area.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So how did that work out?
It worked out great. That set the platform for me. My kids were in school, and I have to say they were a huge part of my success as well. you know, so I started. I mean, my son's kindergarten teacher. I mean, just it just put me on the map with everyone, and that's when my business really started to take off. That was 2009, 2010, and I just kept doing those kinds of things and in conjunction with the people that I had picked up along the way. Did open houses, and again with those listings that I took for $100, I was still doing amazing photography and flyers. I mean, I was in the hole for
Mhm.
sure in this situation, but it's a chance I took, and it paid off really well. Yeah. And then when I got to this other community that I was talking about, that was kind of like landing on the moon, they had a community magazine and everything. Like this is it here. I took the back page. My friend Alicia Michaud talked me into. She was just like, you've got to take this page of this magazine, because if you don't do it, some other realtor is. And it was like $1,400 a month.
Mhm.
And I did it, and that was 12 years ago, and I now have the inside cover as well. I got rid of the back one because I didn't think it was enough space, and I got the inside cover. But again, just making myself be known. I just continued with what had worked for me with those spec homes. I mean, I didn't once I got them under contract, I didn't do anything else. The builder took over, the salesperson took over and closed those homes. So then we got over here to the Rough Hollow area, and let's see. Maybe I want to stop there for a second. Let me get my thought together, or maybe you can ask me a question.
I think you're doing great.
Okay.
So, first of all, I know you talked about being nervous. Don't sweat it. You're
All
good.
right.
Everybody
Thank.
here is loving you.
Oh,
I
sweet.
mean, you could open up the phone book and talk to us and just read the phone book, and we all be just fine.
Thank
So,
you.
just keep going, Jacqueline.
Okay. All right. So thank you. So another thing I did out here in this area that I worked in, it's now got, I guess, maybe 2,000 homes. At that time, it was two small little communities. It had started in 2007 at the height of the market. It had only, they did multi-million dollar homes overlooking Lake Travis and stuff. Well, it slowed down 2008, 2009, 2010. I think we made it out here in 2012, 13. And again, you bring people out and they'd be like, oh, I'm sure it's going to be nice one day, but no, I don't want to live here. I don't know if this community is going to make it. But I stayed with it. And once a few sticks started going in the air with the builders and stuff, they just started selling as fast as we could write the contracts. They started selling that quickly. So within this neighborhood, to keep the momentum going with my luxury business, we did the magazine. I got also in a luxury home magazine. And this one is, I took this back page, just another leap of faith and a lot of money. I'm next to the last page. And then this is my former company over here. So I'm right across from them.
I love that.
Yeah, it looks like they work for me, kind of.
I
Um,
love that.
but yes, and I've been in that one. Gosh, my renewal is up right now. But my point to that one is that every listing presentation that I go on, just about, that magazine is sitting in their house, and I see it, and you can believe me, I grab that magazine. I was like, "Oh, you got that magazine? Did you see my ad?" And then I show them beautiful house, beautiful photographs. So I've relied on that kind of technique, and my the company that I was with. Coldmaker was a luxury company, so before I had a lot of experience, I relied on theirs. We can do
Jacqueline,
this.
if I can interrupt you, I'm going to ask you a question. Also, just want to make sure that everybody knows it's 9:21. So if you've got a question, go ahead and put your hand up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're going to go to questions here in just a minute, and my hallucination is that we're going to have more questions than we have time for. So, Jacqueline, just curious, um, how does the brokerage you're with play a part in this? I mean, we've all heard, you've got to be with a luxury brokerage in order to sell luxury real estate, right? And
Yeah.
you're with EXP. I don't know that many people would think of EXP when they think luxury.
Mhm.
How's that affected your ability to sell luxury real estate?
Well, that's such a great question, and I was concerned about it too because global luxury with the company that I was with was really important. However, everything my previous company did, this company does that, but to the next level. Like they've taken, let's say, um, I used to go into my listing presentations and say, my company is in homes magazines, mansions, all these different things. And it was that company was in there. I didn't pay thousands of dollars to be in there. What EXP does, they are in all those magazines. They are digital, and your actual home is in the magazine.
Mm.
So when those people look at those magazines online, you get a weekly report of every time someone looks at your house in one of those digital magazines. People absolutely love that. And you're able to, when you go into a listing presentation, you're able to take, this is a digital listing presentation, and I think I've told y'all before. The future of luxury real estate has arrived. It's cool. Refined. But it tells you everything that the EXP luxury department has to offer. And literally, sometimes I walk in, we talk for a minute, and then we just open it up and we sit back. And then we wait for them to ask us where to sign.
I have another question on that, and then we're going to go to the
Okay.
group. Is there a link to that if I wanted to see that presentation you have on in that folder that I can click on?
Yeah, I'll get that to you, John.
You can share that in the chat
No,
if you feel comfortable multitasking. If not,
I don't know how to do that.
no worries.
My
Uh,
husband can do
where's
it.
Joe? I bet you Joe will do this before we're finished here.
Yeah.
My money is on
Yeah, so
Joe.
there was that, and then let me finish that up too. I was so concerned about that it took me 5 years to make the decision to make the change, because I was so worried that people were going to be like, you're not with Cold Baker or whatever. It's been 2 years. Not one person has said a word, and I was told that would happen. They hired me. They definitely hired me.
Love it.
Okay.
Jacqueline, hang in here. We're gonna switch screens, but you're
Okay.
still in the spotlight. I've got two hands up so far, so I know there's more questions out there than that. Sean, you're on. Let's go. Jeremy, you're on deck.
Jacqueline, thanks for doing this. Is it fair to say that when you started out in Lakeway, it wasn't luxury, but you were selling just anything that was for sale? Does that make sense? Is that right?
I will still sell anything that's for sale. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. Because I think a lot of us here, some of us here, live close to new construction homes and um, that are up and coming subdivisions. And so it sounds like you made yourself the area expert. Is that
Mhm,
right?
mhm, absolutely. And if you are near new homes, I would recommend that you make friends with those new home salespeople. Think of them at Christmas or whatever. Take a bottle of wine over. My relationships with people in new home sales has changed over the years, where I was paying $100 to now they hire us to market those new home specs that they haven't sold, and we get paid just like a normal one. Normal marketing fee.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jeremy,
You're welcome.
Jeremy, you're up. Russell, you're on deck.
Jacqueline, by the way, you speak very well, so no worries. You're
Thank
good to
you.
go. So next week you'll be all good. I have a question. So I'm also getting into a little bit more luxury. I since being in this on this call, I've gotten a for sale by owner that I reduced my commission kinda to
Mhm,
get into this community. Now,
mhm.
do you find that when you originally did it and you reduced some costs that, other people were like, why are you doing that at all?
No, no, because no one knows. I mean, and if I
Right.
do, even to this day, if I reduce, I tell people it's like, look, I'm only doing this for you. Please don't tell anyone, because I don't
Right.
want. people to get mad at me.
Right, exactly. So that's what I did, and I got into this community,
Mhm.
and that one was 900,000, and now I have a million. I have a 1.1, and I have a $3 million buyer that I'm running. I'm an older agent. I'm 51, right? So I'm I'm also EXP, and I love the luxury side of things. So I
Are
appreciate
you,
you sharing today.
yes, absolutely. So are you part of the luxury program?
So I'm part of a team. Darren Mancuso is also on this
Mhm.
call often. I'm part of his team, and we do have a luxury side of things. I don't think we exploit it as much as we should.
Yeah, that I highly recommend it, because you can't use those reports I was talking about, which are so powerful. People love them.
Love that.
And I saw my husband put in the chat how to get there.
Oh, good job. Love that. Hey,
Oh,
Jeremy, by the way, you're going to timeout by call it by saying 51 is older. 62
yeah, me and John are the same age.
here, everybody. Watch out. All right, let's go, Russell.
Yeah, I one of the things I was going to bring up is, hey, Jacqueline, would you share about your office? Because that's a great story.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my husband's on this call. Daniel, why don't you tell him about the office and how we got there?
Oh, yes. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so when she was talking about taking over the community started, it's about 2,000 homes, started about 14 or 16 years ago, and it was just the Welcome Center was a triple wide. But eventually they built a 3,800 square foot Welcome Center that has a lazy river pool. It's on 12 acres. It's got all kinds of amenities, tennis courts, everything. And we had basically tried to buddy up with the developer and told them, when they're done building and selling homes in the community, that we wanted to take the Welcome Center over. And so about 3 years ago, we reached out to him and said, hey, we want to take the Welcome Center over because we were finishing up. And he said, well, we're going to do a different direction. And I'm like, oh boy, he's going to open up his own brokerage. Sure enough, he opened up his own brokerage. Then the market adjusted in 2023, and he had his rear end handed to him. And he called me up and said, hey, let's talk about the Welcome Center. I said, well, we're going to talk about it, but the number's going to be a little bit different now because you want me in there. So we inked the deal on that. We just had our first year there. I think we pulled just from walk-in traffic, we got 4 deals out of it. So it's already paid for our first 2 years of rent. And we've got great presence on there. And then I was a little creative because it's just a party of two of us and it's 3,000 square feet. So I brought in the HOA into there to sublet. I brought in a lender to sublet, and I brought in an insurance person to sublet. So they basically pay the rent for us too. So
Yeah, and then something just to add to that is we partner with the HOA and do community events. Like we just did one this past week. There was a back to school, so we just try to be everywhere for everyone to know us and see us and be available. Daniel, did you have a question?
I did. So would you tell the folks that aren't luxury why it would be important to go ahead and get their certification via either their past sales or taking the class, which is pretty inexpensive, and they run all kinds of specials, especially during EXPCon, to go ahead and get their certification so they have access to all those tools? Would you think that would be important? Because even if they're not luxury, they can still have access to those tools. So if they get a luxury listing or a luxury buyer, they're ready to go.
Oh, I love that. Colleen said 100% get it. It's worth it. Daniel, since I don't work in the marketing department of my company, I think you just said it all. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Daniel, thank you for adding that. Jeremy, I'm coming back to you because your hand's still up, and I'm guessing maybe you had another question, cut you off. So I apologize. By the way, you're not in timeout, okay?
I didn't mean to. My bad. It's at 51, old. Sorry, it's a
Hey,
geriatrics.
okay, now you're in timeout. Uh, Jacqueline, I've got 9:31. So believe it or not, that's a wrap.
We did
You
it.
did absolutely amazing. You're going to
Thank
be incredible on your panel. Uh, by the way, you were specially requested by Victoria Mountain. So Victoria,
Ah,
still on the call. There you go.
thank
Uh,
you, Victoria.
I've waited so long.
Girl, you got my number. You can always call me.
But I feel like you have something other everyone should hear.
Oh, that's really sweet, Victoria. Thank you so much.
Inspiring people. Absolutely. All right. That is a wrap. Make it a great day, everybody. Remember, we have guest speakers next week. Tomorrow, we're going to do a dry run on using you're going to log in the same way. So don't get confused here. And I'll tell you the rest tomorrow. All right. That's a wrap. Make it a great day, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Jacqueline.
you.
Great job.